Broke Ride Media.
You're now listening to The Straight Shooter Show with your host, The Straight Shooter.
All right, welcome to The Straight Shooter Show. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to spend with us. I think we've got a good show for you. Going to do a little monologue this morning, just something that's been on my mind lately, primarily because I've seen a lot of videos and I've had a lot of people asking me questions about how they should handle different situations with raising a stepchild, or people that don't want to date someone who has a child, or things they need to consider about being a step parent or dating somebody who has a child. And this is for men or women. It doesn't matter the scenario, what the situation is. And I know that when I was younger, I never shied away from dating a woman who had kids, and I never really considered that much. Like in my older age, I can look back and say, well, I didn't really think that through. I should have thought about this or that. And so just things I want to cover. And I'm really getting tired of seeing people that are getting roasted because they say they don't want to date somebody who has children already. Like, they're demonized, and I don't get that thought process. I mean, that's a criteria that they've apparently thought about and decided that's just not what they want for their life. That doesn't make them a bad person. It's just their preference. And I don't know why people demonize those people. I would think that somebody who goes into a relationship with somebody who has children and don't really consider their children or consider the possible fallout, like I have done, is probably worse of a person than somebody who's actually put the thought into it and said, nah, it's just not for me. I mean, it's kind of like, some women don't want to date a man that's, under 5'5" or 5, whatever. Or a lot of men, they don't want to date a woman that's over 5'5". It just is preference. So anyways, to get right into it, if you are considering dating somebody, especially if you don't have kids of your own, but you're considering dating somebody that does have kids, so many things that you really need to consider when you first, start dating them and you get to forming a relationship with their children. If you're a good person with a good heart, you're going to have an attachment to that child. You are. It's just part of life. It's what's going to happen. And if things are going great for a year or two or 5, okay, great. You've been in this child's life for a year or 2 or 5. But if that relationship ends, 9 times out of 10, so does your relationship with that child that you have built a bond with. Now, that sucks for you, but it also sucks for that child that doesn't get to see the person that's been in their life for 5 years. It's very hard for them to deal with, and it's really hard for you to deal with, to not have that relationship anymore. So when you start to date somebody who has children, you have to know that's a package deal. When you receive it, it's also a package deal if you lose it or if you decide to get out of that relationship. And so it's just really a gamble. You don't know when you get in a relationship, there's a chance that down the road it could end. You don't expect that. When you enter in a relationship, you're expecting that's who you're going to be with from now on. I mean, otherwise you wouldn't get in the relationship with them. But, people break up all the time. So just know that is something that you need to consider. And when it comes to raising kids that aren't yours, in most cases, when it comes to actually raising that child, you don't have the say that the parent has, the biological parent. And if your style of raising kids is different than the person that you're dating, they're going to override you on whatever it is that, especially if it comes to discipline or education or, anything like that. It causes a lot of turmoil in the relationship if you don't see eye to eye. So the reason I'm bringing this up is you have to talk to them in the dating process before you ever get to the relationship part of, before you enter in the relationship, you have to know that y'all agree on how to raise kids. What does that person expect from you? As what's your role? Do they expect you to be 50-50, raising the child or do they just want you to be a financial supporter, or do they just want you, where do they want you? You got to know that before you get into the actual relationship. Is the other parent still involved in the child's life? Are they a hard ass? I mean, are they going to be a problem, for you? Is your relationship with their child going to be a problem for that parent? There's so many things that you really have to look at if you're going to date somebody who already has children. So I'm probably leaving some stuff out because I don't ever write anything down. I just kind of speak from the heart whenever I do these things. But don't leave any, stones unturned. You have to consider everything. You got anything, Zach?
Yeah. Why would you date someone that you're not attracted to, right? Or like if there's a big not attracted to, but why would you date someone that has a kid if you want to have your own family and you don't want to date a woman that has a kid just because someone else tells you that you should, right?
Right.
Now you might be missing, like I've had it before too, because I've been a single dad before and I've dated for months and months at a time before introducing my kids. And
Right.
then the minute you introduce the kids into it, stuff falls apart pretty quick. You see what I'm saying? And the girl's like, man, I thought this was going to be different. It wasn't. I've got to go. Obviously sad, right? But can't hate her for that. She didn't know what she was getting into. You can't make someone want to do something that they don't want to do. That's asking for disaster. That relationship's going to end someday.
Right.
And those people that told you that you should have dated that person that has the kid, are they going to be there when the divorce happens? Are they going to be there to hold your head up and share your pain? Because they can't feel your pain.
Yeah.
Are they going to help you split the property and pay for that? I doubt it. I doubt anybody's going to. You're going to be in it alone, and you need to be alone in the decision of making who you want to spend the rest of your life with, because Jason and I have talked about this. It's probably the single most important decision you will ever make, and you need to be the only person that makes it.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. Yeah, I agree. I was thinking about this girl I had talked to. I didn't talk to her for that long. I was talked to her for maybe a week or so on the phone, and I had seen her one time, and then, but I think her daughter had been at Dad's house or something when I had talked to her previously, and then I get on the phone with her, and her daughter was like 4 years old, something like that, and she is screaming bloody murder and kind of cussing her mom almost. I mean, you could tell she was a holy terror.
Yeah.
And her mom trying to talk to me as like, oh, she's never like this. She's never acts like this. And I'm like, horse shit. Okay. She's not acting like this one time that you're on the phone. And does it make me a bad person? I was like, I'm out. You have no control going on over there, and I don't want to get control of your kid because it's not my kid. And even if I try to get control of your kid, you're probably going to step in and say, no, that's not how I do it. Well, what you're doing isn't working.
Right.
I'm not interested in this.
Right.
But I was the bad guy because I made my mind up right then.
Yeah.
This is not for me.
No, you're just the smart guy is what happened, because at the end of the day, what's going to happen is, there's one or two things that could happen, right? Like you can continue the relationship at that point where you see the kid that's misbehaved, because that's common. Because let's be honest, women aren't always the best disciplinarians. In fact, it's rare, you know. The man is usually the disciplinarian, at least in the relationships that I see.
Yeah.
And so if she hasn't had a man there and she's not, you can't blame her for not being that way, because it's just probably not how she does things. But the kid's misbehaved. So you start dating her, right? There's one or two things that can happen. She can either let you take over the discipline to get that under control and give you full reign, because if she doesn't give you full reign, it will not work.
Right.
She can't dabble in and out of what she wants to do.
Yeah.
Or you get out
Yeah.
and salvage it, because you can't deal with, I couldn't deal with that.
Yeah.
Screaming and stuff like that. I couldn't deal with it. You got out right then as soon as you heard the kid screaming on the phone?
Didn't ever talk to her again.
No kidding.
I told her in that conversation, I won't be calling you again.
That's the way it should be, dude. You made the right decision. Why would you string that thing out?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
But she was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Because my daughter is acting up, this, you know, and I'm like, this is more. What I just heard over the phone is more than she's not happy with. I mean, this is normal. Don't tell me it's not normal. This is normal for you. And
Yes.
that's not normal for me. And I'm, you know, I'm not interested.
My kids never throw fits.
My kid
and there is
never acted that way.
There is a reason why they don't, though.
Yeah.
There is a reason why my kids don't. Because they know if they do, I'm probably going to kick them in the hind end. You know what I mean?
Something my friend Paul Props told me, that the guy that has the unwed father, or unwed father, unmarried. I always mess up the name of his organization.
It's the Facebook group you always talk about, right? It's the unwed father, I believe.
Unwed or unmarried father. Unmarried, unwed father. Paul Props. Anyways, something he had said to me was, we were talking about, you know, people who have kids that are out of control, that it's kind of a flag that if their kids are that far out of control, and this isn't 100%, nothing I ever say is 100%, ever, okay?
Mine is. I'm always 100% on.
But because I even brought up to him, I said, well, you know, my mom and dad were saints. They've been married 54 years, went to church, great parents. But I was ornery when I was growing up. If people probably, you know, would look at me and say, his parents probably are, you know, there's something going on at home that make that kid that way. No, my parents were fabulous.
Yeah.
But I was a shithead.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm sorry that I was the way that I was. I'm sorry I made a lot of decisions that I made, but it's not a reflection on how my parents were as people. It's just, I don't know why. I don't know why I was a dick, but I was.
Yeah.
At any rate.
Well, let me not challenge you, but let me play devil's advocate a little bit right here with this. I don't think it says anything bad about a woman that kids acts up if the man has never been in the picture. And it may just, because mothers are more nurturing and loving and stuff like that. I don't think that it says anything bad about her. It's just that a man hasn't been there. But if the man comes in and that woman tries to stop him from being a disciplinarian and he's supposed to just put up with foul behavior, then it's never going to work. Then your man's probably going to be a pushover too. Do you want that? It's not going to work, you know?
Yeah.
But then how are you supposed to discipline somebody else's kid? Because to get a kid under control like that, you're probably going to have to spank.
Yeah, well,
maybe, or
a little. You may have to initially, and that's going to be tough for a step parent to come in and immediately starts, you know, spanking somebody you're not even married to, you know, their kid.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough spot.
Such a tough situation
to be in. But if you let it go, then the kid sees that you are accepting of that behavior too.
Yeah.
And it's just a horrible situation.
Run all over you.
But anyways, me and Paul were talking, and I said, you know, something about, you know, at my age, at 47, I don't really want to date, you know, anybody that has, you know, a child under 17 or 18 years old, really. I mean, I'm just not, because I've raised my son, and I don't really want to start over raising kids.
Of course.
You know, I've raised a bunch of kids with other women, and I just don't want to do that anymore.
Nope.
So for me, that's just, I'm not going to do that. And I said, and even then, if their kids are, you know, 18, 19, 20, I want their kids to have a decent head on their shoulders and have some direction in life. If their kids are not, you know, if their kids are bumming off mom and, you know, drug addicts or in and out of jail or not doing anything, then, you know, I don't really, I want their kids to have in college, out of college, trade school, whatever, because that is a reflection in most cases of mom and their, if their dad was involved and their dad. And, it shows that they were raised a certain way,
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question. What if you're on a date? Well, let's just say you're starting to get to know this woman and you're really starting to dig her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this kid that's kind of borderline. Would you be willing to assume the role of like a leader? Kind of like you do for your followers to help make that kid, son, woman become better and help them out?
Or what age of kid are we talking?
Like college, like you were talking about. Like out of the house, would you be willing to assume that role of a leader for them?
Sure. If it wasn't out of hand, if I could see that, if I could see that there was a relationship with the mom and the child that was
halfway decent.
Yeah, and the kid wasn't just abusing their mom.
Yeah.
Because their mom loves them, you know, and there was some level of respect between the two of them. Yeah, I would probably consider that,
Listen, man, I don't think it's wrong if you were to tell me right now that you're like, I don't want to date a girl that likes pineapples on their pizza.
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with that, dude. Here's the thing. You've been on the earth for, how old are you now?
47.
47 years, right? At this point, because you said you've had many failed relationships, you know exactly what you want.
Yes.
You know exactly what you want in a woman. And it would be dumb for you to date someone outside of that.
That's right.
Even if it were something ridiculous like, I don't want to date a woman that likes pineapple on her pizza.
Right.
Good.
That's something that what I was leading up to was that Paul said is another thing to, really consider is, a woman's, for us, because it's two men talking, and women need to consider this about a man as well, is not their financial position, but their financial responsibility. So, if you are interested in somebody and they make $50,000 a year, it's not a tremendous amount of money, but if they manage that $50,000 a year properly, they're not in a tremendous amount of debt, they live within their means, that's great.
Yep.
Okay. I would rather date somebody that makes 50 grand and lives within their means than date somebody who makes $100,000 a year and has $50,000 in debt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
So that has to be considered as well. And it's a question that needs to in the first 90 days, I'm going to find out what your financial position is. Do you have a tremendous amount of debt? What kind of debt are you looking at? Because if she's got 50 grand in debt, I'm out. I'm not on board for this. I don't want to get in this relationship and be expected to pay, any of that $50,000 that you spent, before you met me.
Or find out that you owe a bookie in Vegas money or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I live within my means. I don't carry debt, on myself. And so if I get with somebody, I'm not expecting any debt. Like I owe a little on my truck and I obviously have a mortgage. I don't expect a woman to come into my life and help me pay off my truck and my house.
No,
I got it.
Yeah.
I got that under control.
You just want to, there's nothing wrong with that, man. You got a good head on your shoulders and you know exactly what you want.
Right.
Even if it means missing out on 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. And people should follow that advice as well, or probably one of the good reasons why divorce rate is so high.
This really mushroomed out of from just thinking about people dating, single parents. All of this stuff is important when you're considering dating somebody, but
that's what we do.
When you're bringing kids into the equation, you've got to consider those kids, and what the possibilities are going to be for those kids.
Was that recently with that phone call they had? Was that recently?
Yeah, this week.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I didn't know it was that.
Oh, no. That girl?
No, the one you were just talking about, how you said you weren't going to talk to anymore.
Oh, no. This was several years ago.
Oh, okay. This week. All right. I was
Let's
like,
clear it.
Dang.
Yeah, make sure that's clear.
I was like, dang, you just told a girl off this week and I didn't even hear about it?
No.
All right. I got some emails for you. You ready? Or were you done with your thoughts on that?
let's move on.
Okay. What does that mean? Was there something spicy you were going to drop,
No,
but you decided
no.
not to? Okay. All right. On to the emails. We got an email from Kim Ann Cole, and she just wanted to tell you that she loves listening to you. She says you're so down to earth, and no subject stumps you or intimidates you. Have a good day, Jason. I got to tell you that, too. I know I've told you this in private, but like I'll tell it on air, so to speak, that there's sometimes when a caller calls or something like that, and they're explaining what's going on, and I'll like almost hold my breath while you're listening. I'll be like, oh, what's he going to say to this? Because I kind of put myself in your position, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'd say to this, man. Like, I get real nervous. I literally, sometimes I'm sitting there while I'm listening going, holding my breath, like, what's he going to say? What's he going to say? And you're never stumped, and you always give great advice. So I agree with Kim. You do a great job.
Well, thank you for the kind message. I appreciate it, Kim.
Kim, we're boosting his head up. We got to say something bad about him next, okay?
What could you possibly say?
I don't know. I'll find something. All right. Next, this is actually a question, okay? And it's from Anonymous.
All right.
And they actually created an anonymous email. That way we would know who they were.
Can't track them down.
We are not tracking this one down. Okay. She says, Dear Straight Shooter, I'm hoping to get some dating advice. I'm 53 with a unique goal for a woman my age situation. I'll be surprised if I find myself wanting to be married again, but I do want a lifelong monogamous relationship, someone I can do life with. Additionally, I don't see myself giving up my household at this point in my life, and I'll likely be attracted to a man who feels the same way. The interview technique you speak of on TikTok is the approach that comes natural for me. I'm not dating for sport. I'm dating with the goal of a long-term relationship. I'm very open and transparent person. I appreciate honest communication, which seems to be getting me nowhere in the dating world. What suggestions do you have to help me quickly weed out the men who don't truly have the same long-term goals as myself? Thank you for your guidance and time. Sincerely, anonymously me.
Okay. Well, I mean, the interview process that I talk about on TikTok is precisely that. I mean, that is how you weed people out that don't have the same outlook or the same goals as you have. And I'm right where you're at. I mean, I'm 47. I don't see myself ever wanting to marry again. But I also, I mean, I want to have a lifelong partner. I want to have, somebody that I can grow old with, that I can retire with, travel with, enjoy, cooking dinner with, or, just sitting and watching TV. I mean, just that companionship. So I'm right there where you're at. And you need to have it sounds like you probably already do. You know exactly what you want. And I'm all for the very first date starting to ask the questions. You don't have to bombard somebody with all 30 of them or whatever you've got, but you know what you want. And when I ask questions, I'm not leading them to say something. I will just say, how do you feel about this? Or, what are you really, really wanting? Where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? What are your expectations of a partner? And a lot of times in the very beginning, the first date may not be what they tell you, what they're looking for, may not be what they tell you 2 months into it. So oftentimes, if it gets that far, readdress some of those questions, not all at once. Just drop one here and there and see if their answers are what they told you in the beginning. Because I talk about that 90-day rule that people, they're going to give you the very best, like I'll see guys that they'll open the car door, and they'll open the door to the restaurant on the first date. They dress nice, and, they're trying to, get you hooked. But 2 or 3 months in, they may not walk around the truck to open your car door, or they may not, open the door to the restaurant, or they may not dress up quite as nice, or they just start to, settle in. And so asking those questions that you've got, have your list of the things that are important to you, asking those questions, finding out what their answers are. If things sound good, continue on with that dating process. And then over time, maybe even reword the question that you had asked them early on and see if they're giving you the same answers. Because if they're not giving you the same answers or very close, pretty close to the same answers, they're likely bullshitting you. And you just haven't seen it all yet. And some people can hold out for, 6 months before you really start seeing who they are. And I know at our ages, 47 and 53, 52, 53.
53, yep.
Time is not on our side. And so it sucks that you have to wait, 3 or 4 or 5 months to really, see if they're being genuine with you or not. But at our age, I say no nonsense. No nonsense. If,
It's kind of crazy how we were literally just kind of on the same topic at the beginning of the show.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's just me, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but the older I get, the better I'm getting at telling if someone's bullshitting.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly I could tell if somebody's full of crap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you can tell that, just get out.
Yeah.
Just get out right away. You don't have to be with you. The older you get, you got to remember, you don't have to be with anyone for any reason. You're not forced to be with anyone. If you get one red flag from somebody and you decide, I don't know if I want to be with this person, but I think I might, you can just break it off with that person right then. If you want to.
Yeah.
And like Jason said, I get it. Time's not on your side. Stuff like that. But what would you rather do? Waste 5 years on someone that's not going to work out, or waste 30 days with someone that's not going to work out?
Yeah.
Because either way, it's not going to work out.
Well, that's why I say it sucks. It sucks that you have to invest this 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months into somebody. Sometimes if they're good at BSing, sometimes it takes that long. Sometimes you can figure it out in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you just know.
Yeah.
This isn't adding up, or we don't want the same thing.
Yep.
You can figure that out on the first date sometimes. But if they're good at BSing you and they are BSing you, sometimes you got to invest 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months before.
And that does suck. That does suck that sometimes somebody's good at it. But I think the more you do it too, the better you'll get at telling quicker if somebody's BSing you. But sometimes people are just good at it. So it's just kind of the nature of the beast, ain't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's the nature of the beast, but I'm glad she's putting herself out there at least and reaching out to you, and she's looking up to it and stuff like that. And,
I ultimately do want to live. I mean, I'm talking about myself, but I want to live with my partner, They don't have to give up if they own a house, great. We'll rent it out. They can live with me, or I'll move in with them, rent my house out, whatever. I'm good with that.
You want that
eventually.
You want that at the end of the night, coming home, watching TV with someone. The little stuff. You love that kind of stuff.
Yes, I do.
That's your love language.
That's what I look forward to. I don't want to live by myself
forever
for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Live with my partner.
And there's nothing wrong with her not wanting to.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even if you did own 2 different houses and she didn't want to move in and stuff like that, you guys could stay with each other a lot.
Yeah. And I probably, that's how it would, start for me.
For a long time. Yeah.
And evolve into.
Just to test it.
Maybe a few years, before we actually, lived under the same roof.
Yeah. And Anonymous, I should call her. Don't just close your mind off to it. If you find someone that you really like, just get to know them. Don't worry about whether you're going to move in or not. Your mind might change later.
Yeah.
You may really want to find yourself spending a lot more time with that person. So can't close your mind off.
If I were to ever sell my house to move in with someone else, I would most certainly take the money from that house and I would put it into something safe.
Good idea.
And then if they had a mortgage on their house, I would just help, I would pay a portion of theirs, but my money from my house would be safe somewhere.
Just in case.
Because if things don't work out, you still got that money sitting wherever that you can access to buy another house.
I didn't think about that. Good idea though. because that would be scary, right? Selling
Yeah.
your house to move in with someone and
Yeah.
then, you know, not knowing, because you never know, right?
Right.
You could be perfect and you don't know. So, all right, you ready for a phone call?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so today's caller is Aiden, and I'm just going to get straight to it and let him talk to you. Sound good?
Cool. Hey, Aiden, doing good today?
Hey. Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. Is it still cold up there?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me again.
Oh, yeah.
You live in Pennsylvania, is that right? Or Virginia?
Southwest Virginia.
Virginia, Southwest Virginia. My sister lives in Virginia. I haven't talked to her in a minute.
Cold here for a little while.
Say that again.
It's been cold here for a little while, snowing a whole bunch. This is my first day off of work. I work for the State Department pushing snow, so
Damn it.
I'm enjoying it.
Well, they
I'm a day
appreciate
off.
you. I guarantee it. Even if they don't tell you, they appreciate you.
Yeah. They tell me I'm number one sometimes, passing them on the road.
So we didn't disclose to the listeners what it is that you wanted to talk about. So I'm going to let you just kind of summarize what it is you got going on, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on it.
All right. Well, I met her on Tinder, which I already kind of knowed her. And matching her on there, I thought it was kind of funny. So we got to talking. We hung out a bunch and kind of started getting real serious with it. Then I noticed that all she wanted to do really was go out and get drunk all the time.
Yeah.
Like rather hang out with me or do nothing. It'd be like a Tuesday night. She'd be wanting to go get drunk.
Mm. How long have you been seeing her now?
It was getting about 2 months there.
Are you still seeing her now?
No. No, she dumped me dead for Valentine's Day.
She did what?
Dumped me dead for Valentine's Day.
The day after Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And you're wanting to? Are you still wanting to pursue this with her?
Yeah, not really. I kind of, at first I was a little bit upset about it, and I concluded that really wasn't worth a damn, so I forgot about it. Moved on. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So,
But, yeah. And then, what messed with my head a little bit was the first, month and a half of it, she was fine, dandy, wanting a relationship, all that, and then out of nowhere, done a 180 on me.
yeah. You mean the first month and a half she was wanting to calm down and not party all the time, and then that changed?
No, she was wanting to be in a relationship, but still wanted to party and drink and do all that.
So what was her reason for breaking it off with you?
Wasn't sure if she wanted to be in a relationship or wasn't sure if she was ready for one, is what she said.
Yeah, well, it doesn't sound like she is. I mean, if she's wanting to party
Yeah.
every day, every night. In your message that I got from you, you were basically saying that you were wanting to concentrate on your future and, try to build something. Normally we get emails into the show, but I kind of sought you out because of you had sent me a DM on TikTok, and I just felt like it was a good conversation to have for other people, in that you wanted to focus more on your future and your girlfriend was wanting to party all the time and you weren't real sure, how to proceed at the time that you sent the message. I'm so far behind on DMs that sometimes when I am able to get to somebody, their situation has changed from the time that they originally sent the message.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm basically going to, based off the message you sent me and that you're wanting to focus on your future, she wanted to party all the time. I'm going to give you the advice going forward, not necessarily with her, because it doesn't sound like she was the right fit for you anyway.
Yeah.
But I think that going forward, whoever you date, this is the type of thing that, you need to find out early. 2 months. I mean, shoot, you only had 2 months invested. That's pretty good to get out, that quick, really. And that you didn't let that linger on for years. You do need to concentrate on yourself and your future and find somebody who is like-minded. How old are you again?
Mm-hmm.
You're young, aren't you?
20.
20?
I'm 20.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame her. I mean, that she wants to go out. I mean, I'm sure you want to go out and have a good time on occasion too, but everything comes with, limitations. I mean, you have to have some kind of balance, and
every now and then, not Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night every week.
Exactly. And so, if you hook up with another girl, she's going to want to go out. There has to be some compromise and some negotiation in, what y'all do, how you spend your money, and, how often you're going to go out to eat, or how often you're going to go out to the club, and how often you're going to stay home, and basically set a budget for, this is what we, if you want to go out for a steak dinner and go to the club, we can do that, but we're not gonna for the next 2 or 3 weeks or whatever your budget allows. You got to figure that out. But I mean, I would just be very careful about who I hook up with. We were talking about, I had done a email response where I just answered an email for a woman who is older, like my age. She's in her early 50s. That was talking about, how do I weed people out, because I want to start dating again. And I'll bring that email response right back to you, that, you need to have your list of questions, and that you're going to find out about a girl from the very beginning. And it doesn't have to be a cold interview on the first date. It can be just in conversation. You can say you got 20 things. You need to really think, what do I want out of a girl? What am I looking for? And you need to have that in your mind. This is what I want. I know exactly what I want, and I don't really want to waste a lot of time with somebody who isn't going the same direction I am. So as long as you got that figured out, and you sit down with whoever she is to dinner, maybe you bring up 5 or 6 of those things, like the top most important 5 or 6 things, but not cold interview style, but just in conversation. How do you feel about this? Make sure that you're going the same direction with that girl. If everything pans out on the first date, maybe the next date or the third date, you can bring up another 5 or 6 things so that y'all are going the same direction. And if she's not, then just don't take her out again. Look for the next one, because you don't want to waste a lot of time, trying to get somebody to change or to see things differently. If out of the first 11 things you ask them, y'all don't agree on the 5 of them, she ain't for you. And just like this girl wanting to party all the time, I mean,
we first started kind of talking seriously back when winter first started, and I told her, I said, I work a lot when it snows. I'm on night shift. I only have days off when it snows before I come back in that night. I don't think she really believed me when I said I work a lot.
Right.
And that probably screwed with her too, because working a month straight.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it can. I mean, if they're not really in it, I mean, some girls, they're there for a good time, not a long time. Same with guys.
Yeah.
As long as things are popping and everybody's having a good time, they're on board. But as soon as things slow down and get monotonous and they're not having as much fun, they're just not going to be interested. And those are girls that are not for you or me. So, well, I really thought that you were trying to decide, what you were going to do with this girl, if you wanted to continue to pursue it or try to let her go.
I was there for a little while after she broke up with me. I kind of was, and I was still trying to talk to her and all that. And I just said, I was at work one day, and I said, what the hell am I doing here?
Right.
I was wasting my own time.
Yep, absolutely.
I didn't want nothing to do with her no more, and cut it off all the way.
Yeah. But everything does have to be, if you do end up in a relationship and like this, and she's wanting to go out all the time, and you can negotiate with her, and she, will listen to reason, and you've got your reasons, and say, look, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. And she's like, you know what? I agree with that. I do like to go out and party, but I can live with, a couple times a month or whatever, because I want to be with you. Well, then you got, you're off on a good start. I'm not saying, I just don't think that everything can be all your way and everything ought to be all the other person's way. But if 2 people are willing to negotiate and, give and take, then that's where you've got something, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And at
Well, I
20,
appreciate
for you
it.
to be working that many hours, that's great. I mean, it's great.
Yeah, I think my last pay period I had, it was January, I think 16th through February 1st. It was like 140 hours counting overtime all up.
Goodness.
And that's though I didn't count feeding cows and walking around on the farm when I get off of work at 8 in the morning.
You know, there's only 168 hours in a week.
Yeah.
So you almost worked a full week out of 2, like if you were to work around the clock. So 140 hours, there's only 168 hours a week. So you dang near worked a full week out of that.
Yeah.
50%.
Oh, yeah.
50% work. That's kind of crazy. But you get paid overtime and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind
overtime,
of
we work. I'm on night shift, so we get it's not like a shift differential. We get more overtime than daylight does. 'Cause
Yeah.
we come in there and it screws up our days.
So you being so young, what's your what do you do to date women and stuff when you're working this hard?
Yeah.
Usually, I ain't really never dated one over the winter. I've had girlfriends during the summer and all that when I had a little bit more free time. But usually, things would peter out about fall.
Man,
Not work out. So I've always every winter past 3 years been single, 2 years.
maybe you should try to find a girl during your busy time so they know what to expect. You know what I mean? They know what to expect during your busy times, and then when they get you more in the summer, then they're pleasantly surprised. And then when you go back in the winter, they'll know what to expect already.
I like that
Yeah.
train of thought, but the problem he could end up, it could be the reverse, is he finds a girl that's like, this is great. And then he develops all this free time in the summer and she's like, holy shit, he's smothering me now.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
could be the reverse effect.
Yeah. I don't know. He seems like a nice guy that people wouldn't get tired of him. I don't know.
My ex-wife has a niece up in Kansas that she married this guy last year, and his whole family, farming, and he told her from the very beginning, look, I'm in the fields in the summertime. I'm in the fields. That's all there is to it. 9 months out of the year, is from daylight to dark every day, and and I think he's probably like 10 years older than her or something like that. And she's like, I get it. I'm fine with it. I would love you. I want to marry you. And they apparently have a very, very healthy relationship. And she wanted to be with him so bad, she gets out in the field sometimes too, to spend time with them, take
I
them
need to find
food.
one like that that'll go feed with me and mow hay and all that. Those
Yeah.
are getting hard to come by nowadays.
Well, it probably is just because of your age. You may have to, I don't know, you may have to date a little older. Someone that's kind of a little more established. There's nothing. My wife is 7 years older than me, and I love it. I love an older woman because then you get somebody that's kind of a little more understanding,
But it's not impossible because this girl that I'm talking about was fresh out of college, like 22 or 23 years old, and her husband is like 31 or somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're out there, and she's a real pretty, girl with a good education, and she's willing to get out there and taking food in the field and help in the field and stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they're there. It's just hard to find.
Yeah, you've got to look. They're diamond in the rough. You gotta look.
Yeah.
So, and I don't envy you, brother. I got a divorce several years ago and tried to date, and this new Tinder stuff. That's a tough one, buddy.
Well, I'd seen her out before over the summer. I partied a little bit. Where she went to school at, like 20 minutes from me. I'd go there and party a whole bunch, and I knowed her roommate's boyfriend for a while before I knowed her, and I seen her on Tinder, and I said, "Ain't this funny?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I tried to end up matching.
Yeah. That's. Do you live in a pretty populated area? Is there like a big city where you're near where you're at?
You ever heard of Virginia Tech, the Hokies
Yeah, of course.
football team? Yeah, Blacksburg. Blacksburg's about 30 minutes from me, 30 minutes.
But that's
I
Big
just
12,
looked
aren't they?
across the mountain and down.
They're Big 12, aren't they?
Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. We play you guys. OU and OSU, we play you guys. So
Yeah, well, here it ain't really big. I'm 30 minutes from here. My graduating class was 40 something. So,
mine was 26.
ooh,
Mine was 26. I got you beat. We're real little.
That is small.
All right. Well, I think you know the direction that you're going, and make sure you got your interview questions in your mind. Really put a lot of thought into what you want specifically, and don't waste a lot of time with people who are not like-minded.
Mm-hmm.
2 months, getting out of 2 months is good on something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forget about that one. Move on. Something bigger and better.
On to the next one.
That's right. All right, man.
I appreciate it, buddy.
I appreciate you. Have a good day.
Yep. You too.
All right. Bye.
He's got the right idea.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, the message that I had gotten from him indicated that he was still in, and he probably was at the time that the message came in.
Yeah.
But I told him, I said, look, man, I know it's been a while since you sent your message. I'm way behind on DM. I'm probably, 300 or 400 behind on DMs right now, just trying to.
Yeah, but that is a problem, right? I've noticed it's a trend from a lot of our callers and a lot of people that email and stuff like that. Just like our caller on our last episode that we shot.
Yeah.
A trend I'm starting to see is that some people mature sooner, and it's not a guy or a girl thing.
Yeah.
Some people mature sooner than other people, and or they mature faster, and sometimes they mature faster than the other person while they're in the relationship.
Right.
Like this guy is 20 years old, and he's working 50% of his life in the winter, Most guys would just go do something else so they can party and stuff like that. Like, he is very mature for a 20-year-old. You don't find many 20-year-olds that are willing to work 50% of their life at 20.
Right.
Well, it's going to be kind of hard to find a girl that's 20 years old that's like that, that's got that same mindset, because there's probably not very many other guys that's like that at 20.
Well, it sounds like he was raised in farm life, and he probably needs to find a girl that was raised in farm life.
Farmersonly.com.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I'm not kidding. Farmersonly.com. Because then you have someone like-minded like that, You don't have to be lonely at farmersonly.com.
We're not getting paid for that.
No.
Stop saying it.
Do you want me to sing it?
Only if they're going to pay us.
I haven't talked to them, so I don't know yet.
Well, go ahead and leave it in this episode and send them a copy. And if they pay us, we'll do it some more. Otherwise, we're not mentioning them again.
Farmersonly.com. If you're listening to this and you want us to sponsor, I will sing it on the next one if you pay us.
Or he will not sing it if you pay us. Whatever you prefer.
Well, I'll just send you a snippet of me singing it, and you get to decide which one you want. But I'm thinking you're going to pick that you want me to sing it, because I have a voice of an angel. So, all right. So I think that's it, man. Take us out.
No, I have a voice of an angel. Matt Mills said so. And I'm sexy as hell.
Matt, God dang it. He remembers all this stuff. You got to quit telling him stuff like this, Matt, okay? Man, he doesn't know what to do with the power of compliments. He doesn't know what to do. You got to stop. We got to stop. We got to get Matt to stop. But something tells me he won't. Matt's a big fan. But we love it. We love Matt. He's our favorite, right? If you had a favorite kid, like as far as the listeners, is Matt Mills one of them?
He's got to be. He's extremely loyal. But,
yeah.
I mean, I've got a bunch of loyals, though. I mean, a bunch. I mean,
sure.
I could do an hour episode on listing the followers that have been loyal.
Yeah.
And I can't express enough appreciation to
We don't have a favorite kid. We
all
don't.
of them. When I was married to my second wife, she had 3 sons before we had our son together. And they'd be like, who do you love the most? And like if I was talking to Jacob, who was at the time probably 9, I'd be like, Jacob, you are my favorite 9-year-old son.
Yeah.
And then I would tell Tracy, you're my favorite 6-year-old son, whatever.
Yeah. I do the same thing to my girls. They always say, who's your favorite? And I'd be like, you're my favorite 2nd grader. But I'm your only 2nd grader. Exactly. My point.
Yeah.
I don't have a favorite, but Anyway, all right, take us out.
All right. Well, 2 weeks in a row, kind of short episodes. I don't know if guys leave a comment if you like the shorter episodes or if you want longer episodes. And if there's a topic that you want us to talk about, if you want me to touch on something like maybe in my opening monologue or something, leave a comment saying what you would like to hear about, or you can send an email and tell us something, if there's a topic that you would like me to cover. But 2 weeks in a row, kind of short episodes. So you may not agree with everything that I say here, but you know one thing, I'm always going to shoot you straight.
You have been listening to The Straight Shooter Show. Come back every Wednesday for new episodes.